Yes. Yes, okay.
Mhm.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you for joining me today. We are live from HappyNow, and we have two special guests today coming to us, Yvette and Meso.
Thank you for having us, Sunny. It's
Thank
so
you.
good to be back again.
Thank you for
Thank you very
joining
much.
again. Yes, we did a great episode last time, and then today we going to go
A bit deeper on
bit
some of the
deeper
topics.
on some of the topic, and I'm
Yes.
so excited for it. And
Yes.
then let's start now.
Okay, sounds
Okay.
good.
Yes. Do you want to introduce about yourself a little bit more so that some audience, yeah, last time they didn't. Yes.
Yeah, so my name is Marcel, and I've been working as a coach for many decades now. And my main driver is really to help people elevate their lives. Because sometimes we have so many different levels in life. We have the relationship level, family, we have work, we have finance, we have ourselves. And very often I can see that many people are doing really well in some of those areas and not so well in other areas. And after all, I think our time on this planet is very limited, and the big idea is really to make sure you have a good life with all that is part of it. Yeah.
And for me, I have grown up in martial arts and the holistic health field. So my background has been assisting people in creating a life that they love and being really comfortable and happy in their body. So that means having the energy to do your passions, to do what you love in life, to do what you came here for. So we look at the physical, mental, and emotional well-being using various techniques.
Yes. You've been doing it for so long, right?
Yeah, nearly 30 years.
And yeah, let's start with the topic today. And as many audience in the channel, they are like 35, 40, 45, and we have so many audience like interested in the topic with relationship when they are reaching like 35 or after 30 and even after 40. So I know that you both meet each other after 40.
Yes.
So perfect people, perfect couple for this show for today. So my first question for you both is like, can you share the moment you realize this is more important, like more than a casual relationship, and how you figure it out is like a serious one?
Marcel?
I think we've had lots of experiences in the past, and we probably come later to those questions. But we've had lots of experiences that helped us know what we want, but also helped us know what we don't want. And yeah, we can complain a lot about bad relationships, but really, I learned a lot in those bad relationships. So maybe they're not even bad, but they helped me really know what I want and what I don't want in my relationship or in general in my future. And I think this is one of the parts where, to come to your question, when I realized that what I wanted to create for myself in the future is very aligned with what Yvette wants to create in her future, I could see that this is a great woman to create the future together.
For example, can you be more specific? Like create a future, how does the future look like, and how you discover that she's the one?
So for example, maybe a very practical thing, I've been living in 2 different continents. I've been living part of the time in Europe and part of the time in South America. And finding somebody to love and to spend the life together is very difficult in the circumstance, because it would have to be somebody who is okay with that. And also, I would want a relationship, or I wanted a relationship that where we can be together all of the year and not just part of the year. So this already limited my search to people who are totally flexible on their schedule.
Relationship, not situationship.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
And,
So this is just one thing. So
yeah.
in a relationship, a lot of things have to align and come
Mm.
together and fit. You're not just, well, you're getting a whole package with lots of different levels, and it has to, the more levels fit, the easier it is to actually have a good relationship and to get along and to be successful.
Yes. I think that's really important that you look at how many areas of your life do align. As Marcel said, it will become easier and easier. Yeah, because there's always going to be things that you will learn and grow together within the relationship. You don't always agree on absolutely everything. It's not always going to be perfect and, flowing necessarily. But when you understand yourself and each other and you have that amazing foundation, it's so much easier to handle any challenges that might come up along the way.
Maybe to give one example, I had one past relationship that absolutely did not work out, even though we were very much in love with each other. And that was because of the topic of kids. So my partner wanted a kid, ideally 4. And I already had 2 kids, and for me this topic was over. So putting it into the future, if you have a couple where one person desperately wants kids, needs to have kids, and the other one absolutely does not want to have kids, this is already very, very difficult, if not impossible, even though other parts of that relationship aligned. So this is, the older you get, I think the more specific you know what you're looking for. Honestly, when I was 15 or 16, I didn't have a lot of list where people need to tick boxes and say, okay, I basically was looking for somebody who smiled a lot and who looked good and was smart, and all those questions we would now ask in a first date, just to check if there is compatibility. Those are questions I didn't have it with 15, and I think the older we get, our list gets longer with questions, and we feel that maybe it's impossible to find somebody who matches this list. And I would say, to the contrary, by having this list, the chances of finding somebody and being successful in a relationship actually increases.
It's much higher. Yeah, it's interesting because exactly what Marcel said, you think that if you have such a long list or you have very specific needs, that it's going to be difficult. Actually, it helps you let go of the people who are not a good match. And that's already very good. You need to know yourself and what's important for you, what you're looking for, what you want to give in the relationship, and how you want your relationship culture to look like and feel like as you grow together. And again, to see if the vision is accurate, is overlapping. And also looking at what's in the future, how you want the life to look like together. A lot of times people will say, love will conquer all. You also have to be practical. Maybe you truly love each other, but if your goal in life is very different, one person wants a family, the other one wants a career, one person wants to live here, another person wants whatever it is, but they become deal breakers, and you think you can conquer it, you can change the other person, you'll convince them, or it's not so important to you, but later on you're going to realize actually these things that are important, it's better to discuss them and be honest and realistic right in the beginning, so you can let each other go and find who you truly need to be with, rather than struggle and try to make it work.
But if people know those specific things, but they have difficulty finding someone who may align with that, and they become like having a belief, they get a belief that maybe there's no one compatible on this earth anymore. It's common, yeah.
Yes. My grandmother used to say to me, Yvette, your standards are very high, and I don't know if you'll ever find somebody who matches that. And the difference in our thinking was that she considered my needs to be high standards. For me, it's what I know works for me best, what I need to become the very best person, to bring out the best in myself, to show up as the best authentic Yvette in that relationship. and I would want the same for my partner. So it's not about lowering your standards, it's about being really clear and having the courage to state what you really need and also what you want to offer. Yeah.
I've heard people saying that at my age I'm not going to find anybody. And as you say, this is a belief that is not helpful. Because if I believe that I'm not finding anybody who matches me, I'm not looking. And obviously, if I'm not looking, I'm lowering my chances of this happening. And then I sit in the cafe with my friends and I tell them, I don't think I'm going to find somebody. And they'll be, as they are my friends, some of them will say, yes, you will, it's so easy. And then I'll argue against them and say, no, it's not easy, because had it been easy, I would have found somebody. So I'm really arguing for my limitations.
I think it's important to have a relationship coach or surrounded with friends like that. Because like sometimes you want to believe, but your past experience holds you back. And if no one tell you like, hey, you can do it, you can get it, look at me, look at other example, like you may not want to try again.
Yeah, so there is one really good aspect about the past, and that is that it's over. So whatever happened in the past is in the past. And if I want my future to be different, I think it starts with a different approach and a different thinking. By saying, well, I've had past experiences, some of them have been amazing, some have been bad. Even the bad experiences helped me know what I want. So now I know so much better what to search for. I mean, if we take just another example, so I really like cars. I know what I want to have in a car. I don't know what I don't want to have, and there are some things that are a must, and there are some things which are flexible. So maybe it could be red, maybe it could be white, maybe it could be blue. So maybe the color is not so important, but other things, this is what I want to have. And I think this is, maybe it sounds a bit too practical, but if I know what I'm looking for in a person, it makes it so much easier to find it, or find her.
And also being honest about it, really. When people get together or they're introduced to each other, they're very polite, they talk about, oh, this is what I do for work and this is what I like to do for fun. Talk about how you handle stress. Talk about what your triggers are. Talk about what it's important for you to do in this lifetime, the experiences you want to have. Talk about how you show love and appreciation and how you like to be shown love and appreciation. For example, the love languages. Some people show or prefer to be shown love and respect and appreciation by physical affection, others by receiving gifts, others by acts of service, others by words of appreciation. Knowing which one your partner responds to best, it's so much easier to give them that in a way that they can receive it and accept it. It's one of the things too, sometimes there's miscommunication, misunderstanding when there doesn't need to be. Both people are showing each other love and affection, but the other can't hear it because it's not their love language. They don't understand. So having those conversations of what works for you, how do you want me to show this? Sometimes Marcel will ask me, am I giving you enough affection? And most of the times I say yes. The 20-something odd really amazing hugs I receive a day and the caresses, amazing. It feeds me. That to me is important. And occasionally we've been busy and I say, actually no, I need you to give me a good 2-minute hug. And he comes and does it and it's beautiful and I feel fulfilled and it's that easy. And other times that he has something that he needs and he can tell me, we don't take it personally. We're able to say, this is what I need. And the other person can take it in and say, okay, I can do that for you.
So it's like communication and really authentic communication.
And I think, Yvette, you just gave a really good example. It's so much different by saying, I need a hug. It's so much different because many people say, you never give me enough hugs. And now I feel attacked. And I don't even want to give hugs anymore because I think just the wording isn't good.
Blame.
Yeah, and by being open for it and understanding, okay, she said the 2-minute hug. 30 seconds are already great.
Yes, it is. It's amazing.
So this is it's not costing me a lot. And I know she's in a better shape afterwards. And not taking it as a personal critique. she's helping me help her. She's helping me understand her better. It's like
That's an art. I don't think it's like everyone can know the art of like letting others know what you really need,
Yeah.
because the way of you communicate is very important.
Oftentimes I'll hear people say that, oh, we've been together so many years, he should know what I need and want. She should know.
That's it.
Nobody can read minds that well, no matter how often you've been together, how long. Why not make it easy for the other person to win with you? Our men want to be our heroes. Your women want to be nurturing and see you do so well and be happy and joyful with what we offer. Make it easy by letting the other person know, this is what would really make my day. This is what would really bring joy to me.
So happy from a very simple joy,
Yes. And it doesn't have to be huge. It could be like a 30-second hug.
Wow.
It could be that simple. Or when Marcel says, I'm having a very busy day and I'm eating food really mindfully, cooking at home, these are important to us. And when one of us just doesn't have that time, the other will pick that up. Noticing what the other person needs. Yeah. But being able to ask for it and help each other win with each other instead of saying, you don't do this, and say, you know what, this is so important. I would love it if you would do this for me.
Noticing, so this is something Yvette does really well. The other day I started a video call, which was a 90-minute call, and as I start this video call with 40 people, I noticed I forgot some water. Forgot to put water on my table, and I was very thirsty. I was getting more and more thirsty as I went to the came along. And suddenly Yvette comes in the room and brings me water. So she was noticing what I need, even though she was working in a totally different room of the house. And this is so wonderful, knowing that we have each other on the radar.
And you appreciate each other every day, and appreciate every little thing that your partner do for you.
That's a great point. And not taking each other for granted. Even if we do something kind 1,000 times over, don't expect it the next day. Always appreciate, always say thank you as if it's the first time it's happened. Make the other person feel validated and respected and appreciated, that it made an impact in your day when they did something for you. Yeah. I think never taking each other for granted. This is a really big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And then let me have another question for you. What was some of the biggest challenge you face in your love life before you meet each other?
I think it was communication. Feeling free to absolutely say what is on your mind and on your heart. Because many people don't want to hear it.
Exactly.
So creating an example here, you ask somebody, how are you? And you're expecting for them to say, I'm good. Because if they say, I'm not good, you go, oh no, now I have to listen to what they're not good about for half an hour. So sometimes people give a signal. I'm asking you a question, but I don't really want to know the answer. And this causes communication to be very superficial. And so for me, the biggest challenge in the relationship was to set boundaries, what's okay and what's not okay. Because I noticed myself doing things that I normally wouldn't do just to please the other person. And doing that over a long time creates a deeper and deeper frustration, up to a point when sometimes you know what, when suddenly a person totally explodes. That happens when they've been taking too much stuff for too much time.
And the resentment builds.
It builds and then it overflows, and then it comes out. So I think it's very important. Yvette says checking in with each other. Are we still well? It's checking in with yourself. Is everything okay? What do you need? Is there something you're missing? Something that you need that's not a need that is not met? That's important.
So communication within yourself and communicate with your partner.
Yeah.
Checking up.
Yeah. Every morning, just checking in. do I still want to continue in this relationship? And if yes, do I still want to continue in the same way? Are we heading in a direction that feels good, that's aligned with the vision? And if you ever have a feeling of not so much or something's off, okay, that's the time to check in and say, what's happening?
I feel so smooth. But in reality, like when you guys having like a conversation, like people say serious conversation, do you face something like that? Like during the relationship, you want to speak out, or you want to your partners to listen to you more, or changing something, or you ever face this situation, or everything just like checking up every day and it's perfect?
Well, I think with us, we're very good at listening to each other. And one thing I'm very conscientious about is, even if the initial suggestion or advice Marcel might give about something, because he's well-meaning and he sees I'm struggling with something and he wants to give a suggestion to help me get through it better or easily or improve it, even if my initial reaction is, I don't know if that'll work, or it's not really my thing, or I feel uncomfortable with that, I say, okay, I'm gonna sit with this and just think it over, feel it out, try it, let's just give it a chance. Because we're so ingrained in our patterns, oftentimes we think, yes, we know best, we know ourselves best, but sometimes a person from the outside really does have wonderful advice if it's well-meaning. And I think not launching into this idea of, no, I don't think that's right, and arguing, but just hearing the other person and giving it a chance. I think this is always very good.
Did work?
I'm not sure if last time we talked about the lady in the train who was on the phone, but no?
No.
Okay, I think that's a good example for communication. I was on the train, next to me was a lady I didn't know, and our train was late for 1.5 hours. So she picks the phone and calls her partner at home. And as she was speaking very loud and she was sitting next to me, I could hear her part, her side of the conversation. And more or less it went like this. Hey dear, our train is late. So I won't arrive on the station before 1 a.m. at the middle of the night. I just wanted to let you know that you don't have to come to the station to pick me up. No, don't worry. No, you don't have to pick me up. I mean, why don't you stay at home and you make yourself a nice evening? Take some rest, and I come at 1 a.m. with a taxi. Yeah, I can take the taxi, no worry. No, I can, yeah, no, really, it's okay. Stay at home, really. No, it's okay. I can take a taxi at 1. Goodbye. So, and here are really different messages in the phone. So she says, make yourself a nice evening. And sometimes I ask people, if you hear this, I ask groups, who would go stay at home and have a nice evening? And most people raise their hands and say, I would. She told me to 5 times. I asked 5 times. Yeah. And what she was really saying was, the train is late. I'm so upset. It's going to be the middle of the night. The only thing that would make me happy is if you wait at this train station with flowers at 1 a.m. Yeah. So, and communication in life is so much more difficult if we don't say what we want, what we need.
It's oftentimes, the joke is when a man asks a woman, is everything okay? She says, yeah, it's fine. I'm fine. You know it's not fine. And the poor guy later is thinking, oh, I'm going to get it later. And this is terrible. Instead of actually saying what's on your mind and discussing it. And maybe in that moment you're too heated or upset about something and you can't say anything. You say, okay, you know what? Something's bothering me, but I need to work it out for myself. De-stress. Can we come back in the evening and have a conversation or talk about it tomorrow?
Yeah. Like for me, when I was in Asia and I was in Europe, I was in other countries as well. I see a little bit difference in the culture when they were raised. I see like in Europe or in America, it's a little bit more open for women to speak out their emotion, their feeling. While in Asia, we were taught like to to keep it, to hide it, because when you express it, it's not really beautiful, you know. So I learn a little bit each day to communicate the feeling, how I feel, and listen to my emotion as well. So I think, yeah, it's also like if people start to have open ideas about how they can communicate, that's very beautiful. Because if you keep, it's not good at all for your mental health, for the nervous system as well. Thank you so much. I hope next time we have another podcast on art of communication. I want to learn so much, and I think our audience also. And the next question is like, did your age play a role in how you approach relationship, and how did it affect your expectation of fears?
I think age definitely plays a role because at different stages of life you have different not values, you have different needs. So when you're younger, you might be looking for a very different type of relationship than when you're older. Values are typically the same, but how you might want to live in that relationship could look very different. If you want a family, typically you would be interested in this from your earlier years. But let's say you've already had a family, then you're looking for a new relationship in your 40s and your 50s, 60s, and beyond. You're probably not going to be looking for someone to have children with, or to adopt with, or have a family with. Yeah, right? So there's different needs at that point. Yeah, so this definitely makes a difference. Another thing that most people find, the older they get, the braver they are. The more willing they are to say what they really would like and what they won't tolerate. And they're willing to put themselves out a bit more in the sense of, this is what I need, this is what I would like. And this is so important, knowing yourself. You know yourself so much better, typically, the older you are. And this is very important. Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, and just to add, where are people in their jobs or in their careers? There are some people really want to build a career and they give all of the time and attention to their career. This is also difficult if you have somebody as a partner who is in a very different part in this process. So we find it's really good to ask lots of questions to see where are people and where do people want to take their life next. So what do you see happening in your life for the next 5 or 10 years? Would be a good question to understand what's happening, so that you know what you buy into. If you know you're getting into a relationship with somebody who's 100%, 120% going for a career, you know that this person is not going to spend a lot of time with you.
And then, do you have any suggestion for those who like too busy, like both of them are too busy, and how they can make a relationship work if they're too busy?
It's really a question what they want. Yeah, there are those stories in movies where somebody's working, and then they meet the love of their life, and suddenly there's space for this time for this person. Yeah, so for me, it's really a question of priorities. And honestly, I mean, how much time are we wasting every day by going through social media, reading the news, watching Netflix or something like this? There's time we can make. So, for example, when we got to know each other, I canceled my Netflix subscription. And in all the time we've been together, I can count on one hand how many movies we've watched together. Yeah, because we are too busy doing other things.
That's beautiful. It's a matter of priority. And you can have it all. You can have both if you know how to handle the time and managing the time better than before you have the partner in your life.
It's the key question: how do I want to live my life?
That's really important.
And it's also good to understand your energy levels and the typical routine that best serves you. So for example, if it's important for you to have a really strong morning routine, you get up early, you want to do meditation, you want to walk outside barefoot and ground, you want to do a slow, nourishing morning, and then see how your day goes, and then you want to have a similar evening routine. That's important for your partner to understand what it's like potentially living together. And one person might be a morning person, one person a very late morning individual. So it's also important to understand how you can flow together when you share a space and how much that is going to impact and support each other or not. Aside from that, of course, knowing your vision for the future. It's really, really helpful when there's a joint vision. Yeah. So when we got together, we realized actually we're both very good at doing nourishing things for ourselves in the morning. We both wake up early. We both like to ground and have a strong routine that supports our nervous system, our mindset, our physical health, our emotional well-being. But not everybody starts their morning like that, and that's fine. But it's important to be able to live together in a way that's supporting each other's needs also.
Do you discuss it from day one?
Yeah, we were very good about asking each other, what's your day like? How do you spend your time? What do you do to recharge? Do you need to be in public? You need to have a lot of people around? You like to have late evenings? Or do you have more peace time, quiet time? Do you need alone time? So we talked a lot about the different needs and our energy levels throughout the day and how we like to work. Do you need a lot of privacy and quiet for your work? Or are you okay if we share the same space? For example, we both work from home most of the time. So we had to really understand how each other works and plays and recharges optimally. And then see how we can best support each other and ourselves by approaching that in a way that works best. But you have to know what you need first. You have to have the courage to say it to the other person and not take it personally if the other individual says, you know what, I need this to change because it doesn't feel right. I think I need something different. Okay, let's figure out a way that will work.
Adjustment as well.
Yeah. And this is where the checking in comes because we're growing and learning, so nothing stays the same. What I said 5 years ago was a need, maybe that's shifted a little bit, right? Or for Marcel, something might have changed.
But when you say the courage to talk, the courage to communicate is also very important because like normally people will think like if I speak it out, maybe I don't get the love that I used to get.
Yeah.
And so the fear of not getting enough love, like prevent them from speaking out their needs.
I'll give a very simple example of this. For me, when I'm focusing on work, I'm best when there's quiet around me. No music, no messages, no flickering lights. It's just the way my brain works best. And Marcel really likes to listen to different things out loud, whether it's music or he's working, he listens to his messages out loud. And if we're sharing the space, I mean, now it's easy. He knows that we both wear our headphones. But in the beginning, it was a little bit difficult for me to say, could you please use headphones, darling? Because I need that to focus.
And she has this nice way of not saying, could you please use your headphones? She says, can I bring you your headphones?
I actually learned that from him.
That's beautiful.
And that's a signal, that's so politely asking, and it lets the other person know, this is what you can do for me to help me be my best, and it's an easy win, and it's not difficult to do, or vice versa. When Marcel asks me for the same thing or something similar, it's not a problem. We don't take it personally. But in the beginning, it can feel difficult to ask your partner for something, thinking, I feel like I'm limiting this person, maybe they don't like it, I don't want to cause friction, we have those doubts often. So it takes practice to ask for what you need so that there's harmony.
Yeah, in the workplace, we're using very much the concept of psychological safety. And I think the same is true for a relationship. And what is psychological safety? I think a good way to understand it is to look at the opposite. And we know this maybe from those mafia movies, where the big boss is making a really stupid suggestion, and then he's asking the group, do you all agree? And then there's one person who doesn't agree and said, boss, I don't think it's a good idea. And the next thing that happens is that this person has a bullet in their head. And then the boss is asking one more question to the group, is there anybody else who doesn't agree?
Exactly.
So, and this is not psychological safety. Psychological safety means I can say anything without fearing consequences.
Exactly.
So if I'm creating a situation where one person in the relationship says, I would really like to do this. I would really like to spend a weekend with my friends. And the other person, how can you do this? And me, and I'll be on. This is not psychological safety. Psychological safety is to listen and to say, okay, what's the reason behind it? What's happening? Tell me about it, and also giving the freedom to speak up.
This is just adding to the psychological safety. Oftentimes, there's an issue with this because one person will make it unsafe for the other individual to show up as themselves and to be authentic and to speak their truth. So what ends up happening is they are teaching their partner to lie to them out of necessity, out of having to protect themselves. And that's terrible because your partner doesn't want to lie to you. But if they feel so attacked every time or many times, you're going to train them to not be honest with you. So, this goes both ways.
Exactly. It's so beautiful. And then we have a little bit break. And audience, stay tuned. We'll be back with so much more beautiful things that are going to discuss about. See you soon.
See you soon.
Bye. How are you doing, Jay?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Is that everything okay for you?
Yeah. You?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the title is Finding Love After 40. Yeah, so maybe
We give some tips.
we look at how to actually do it.
Yeah.
Because we've been spending a lot of time on how to maintain it.
Yes.
And
So maybe one of the things we can talk about is
We have 4 live and we have 37 minutes so far. 8 view. 8 people are watching us today. Let's say hi to these 8 people.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being with us and welcome back.
Hello, friends. Thank you for being with us.
thank you.
And yes, welcome back, and we continue our talk show today, which is really insightful for me and especially for the audience there. Thank you for watching and for your comment, for your likes. And yeah, so can you describe that both of you are coaches and how your professional background in coaching help you in personal relationship journey?
So I think last time we were talking about the 0 to 10 scale. And I think this is something that we use a lot as a first introduction into the topic. Asking, how is this for you on a scale from 0 to 10? And normally it's very easy for us to say, well, this is a 6, this is a 5, or this is an 8. And then the question is, okay, if somebody says this is a 5, we can ask, why is it not a 2? Yeah, because even in a 5, there are some good things. And if it's, and what would take it to a 6 or to a 7? And I think this idea that nothing is fixed and that wherever we are, we can still have an advancement, we can work on ourselves. I think this is so ingrained in our belief system. That's in mind. Yeah. Whatever situation it is, this is not the fixed situation. And I think it's very easy if we just reflect on the last 5 years in our lives. I'm sure then if you think 5 years ago, your life was not like it is now. And you've learned a lot in the last 5 years, is that true?
I evolve a lot.
Yeah. So very likely you're going to have a similar evolution in the next 5 years.
Yes.
Yeah. So your life is going to be even more rich in many senses.
Yes.
So this is what we believe in, and many people get depressed and frustrated because they think the situation they have is something they get stuck in forever. And as coaches, we can say, no, it's not. But you have to do something to evolve. It's not happening by itself.
Yeah. So specifically for those who are seeking for the partner for a relationship, do you have any suggestion for them to take some action?
Yeah, so there are a couple
Make
of
it happen.
things that are simple, not necessarily easy, but simple and very good to do. The first thing is take a sheet of paper and on the top write your future partner, right? And then make a list of the most important attributes, values, whatever's important for you that you want that person to have. Read through it, be very detailed as possible. How they handle finances, how they handle stress, what are important for them in terms of family dynamics, social dynamics, self-growth. Look at different categories of life and say, this is how I would like my future partner to be, the values they have, how they approach life, the attitude they have, what's important for them. Read through that list. And then what you're going to do is cross out future partner, and you're going to write your name at the top of that list. And then you're going to reread everything you wrote and say, do I have this? Am I already in possession of these traits? Do I embody this? And if you don't, then you have some work to do. If you want to attract someone who has these attributes, you need to match it. You need to be at that similar space and level and mindset, right? Because if one person's here, the other person's there, you're going to miss each other.
Exactly.
So this is something, for example, in my previous relationship, I left a very difficult relationship. And the first thing I did was take stock and say, okay, I have to learn from this. If this is what I'm looking for in my future relationship, I know I'm not there yet. So I have to do some work. I did coaching. I did various programs. I did a lot of forgiveness practices. I did a lot of self-worthiness, self-value increasing practices. So this is one of the base things, really understanding where you're at and where you want to be and working on yourself first. So before you actually look for a partner in a relationship, make sure you are already embodying and being the person that you are looking for.
Yeah, maybe to give a metaphor, if you invite somebody to your house, typically you would clean up. You take away the trash, you will clean up, you will make sure that the person feels at home, feels well. And I think this is what you have to do with yourself when you're cleaning up. Many people are starting and looking for a new relationship while they are still entangled with an old relationship. Maybe they're even in a relationship, and I don't think it's helpful. Being clear, being cleaned up in so many ways is a good way to show up.
And just the idea that nobody's perfect. We all have our flaws. We all have what we're working through. We all have triggers. Understanding that no one's perfect, but being able to be authentic and vulnerable and letting the other person see you, really see who you are. Remove as many masks as possible. Don't be afraid to show up as your true authentic self. Because if you think, oh, but what if I scare away the person I'm interested in, then that wasn't the right relationship for you anyhow, right? So it's so important to really be yourself. The next practice I would suggest is something we talked about last time we spoke, Zenny, is to create a vision board and also have a shadow board. So in the shadow board, you explore all the things that have hurt you, that you don't want to share, that you're ashamed of, you're embarrassed by, that you would have liked to do differently, or even things that you would love. Let's say maybe you really want to learn to play the piano or sing, but you're an engineer and you think, oh, no one will accept that. How would that look? Anything that you don't share with the world, put that on your shadow board to really see the other side of yourself that you are not letting out. And then create a vision board. What is your vision for life in all those different categories? Career, finances, family, social, growth, legacy, experiences you want to have in life, just to name a few. because this will really clear up how you want your life to look. And you'll know exactly the type of questions to ask the other person too. Well, how aligned are we? Well, you have to know your own stuff first, right?
Yeah. I like the idea of clean up,
Mhm.
and then you have shadow box, and then when you clean it up, you see your vision clearer than ever. Because trust me, I did the shadow box like last time they suggest me, and I see my vision is even like brighter and more authentic, and I know, oh, that's me, that's it.
Yes.
So clean yourself and make the other like make yourself feel at home first, and then
Mhm.
when the other come, they also feel you feel
Yes.
at home to be with you. Right?
Yes.
I start feeling it. I start feel after the shadow board, and then I see my vision, and I feel more confident having that journey alive with my journey.
Yes.
And we had this conversation just recently. We always say, I'm looking for the one.
Mm.
And we want to suggest that there's more than one.
Mhm.
I think that there are many people, there's bunnies sitting next to each other saying,
Yeah,
yeah, this
that
is our
caught my
team.
limits.
But
Yeah.
really, I think there are more people we are compatible with.
Wow.
And yes, well, there are a lot of people on this planet.
Mm.
Mm.
A lot of people have this idea of the one, the one. What if I miss the one? Or what if, the one, I had the one, but he or she died, or we're not together for some reason. What does love mean for you? I think this is one pivotal question. What does that look like? Because if you're looking for the one what? Somebody to share your life with, to grow a business and companionship with, to have a family with, what does that actually mean for you? So this is part of your work in the vision board, to understand what's actually important for you. What does love mean? What does compatibility mean? What does a shared vision mean for you? So this means different things for different people. So first understand what that is for you. What does love look like for you? And not just, the nice feelings. Oh, he shows up with flowers, or she cooked me a nice meal, these sort of the traditional ideas. But
That's
the
on
grander
film.
scheme, yes, the grander scheme, what is the legacy you want to leave? And how do you want to take this journey of life through together? Yeah. And you could have a beautiful connection with lots of different people. So, like Marcel said, there are many, many people on this planet. And we're not suggesting, you have multiple relationships. There are so many different ways to have a relationship, and one isn't better than the other. They're different. And understanding what's important for you, and then making sure you align with the other individual so that you're on the same page. This is what's important.
It's a beautiful mindset.
Yeah, I mentioned the relationship that I had where the lady absolutely wanted one or 3 or 4 kids. And it looks like she has not found a new partner. And it looks like she thinks I was the one and now I am gone and now her life is terrible. And I say, obviously, I was not the one because my vision was very, very different. And I'm sure there are people out there who would want a relationship with her and kids. And those are the ones, and again, I think there are several.
I think because maybe of the habits, they get used to with the habit of having someone that they title as the one, but they may not have
And at,
discover.
and at the same time, having that next to me, I can say she absolutely is the one.
A complete one.
Yes.
Because it's just a lie and everything just.
And I think also we were flexible and easy with ourselves, each other. We weren't constrained saying, oh, I really hope it works. It has to be this person. I feel really good with you. It's understanding that we're giving it a chance. We're seeing how compatible we are. We really like each other. This is in the beginning. But if we realize we're better off as friends, I can accept that. You can accept that. We want the best for each other. So we're open to seeing what is the very best for both of us. So there wasn't that tension, that strain, that, oh, I really have to do everything, make sure, he really likes me, or she really likes me. And No, even from the beginning, we were willing to share the shadow board, the parts of ourselves that were not so nice, you know. And I think that made a big difference because being vulnerable and human meant we could actually be truly honest with each other. It wasn't going to scare the other person away. Actually, it made me appreciate and have so much more compassion for myself when I understood some of the things that he went through in his journey and what he would consider not his best traits. I love him with all of those traits. It's part of what makes him who he is.
Yeah, I feel that sometimes people just get together and then they are a couple. And what was different in our start is we did our homework before. And some people get together, they're a couple, and then they think, okay, now how do we create the future? And then they create something together. And very often in that moment, people need to compromise. And had I had a really good relationship with this woman I mentioned earlier, maybe I would have even gone for kids. Maybe. But this is something that is already a compromise on my part. And having done the homework, shadow board, vision board, we keep repeating that. We knew what we didn't want. We knew what we wanted. So when we met, it was already very probable that something could happen and on the relationship path, as you mentioned last time.
I heard some people talk about intuition. Intuition is when you are with someone and you feel this person is so right, that can't be wrong, or so wrong, that can't be right. Do you think so?
Yes and no. So I think intuition is great.
Yes.
And sometimes it doesn't work. And we were talking with a friend the other day who was in a relationship with a psychopath. And what psychopaths do is they make you feel really well and you have a great feeling. And this is their trick to get control over you. And once they have control over you, they turn and become really bad. And psychopaths do that so well that you don't notice in the first meetings. So this would be the exception, but I hear
For example, narcissistic relationships.
I hear that's 3 to 5% of the population, which is still quite a high number, but there's still many good people out there.
The other recommendation would be to have amazing coaching, take programs, read books, understand how you work, how you function, what's important for you, and really keep developing yourself. It never stops. We're always learning, we're always growing, we're always shifting. Our core values are fairly strong as a foundation, but maybe the way we express them changes throughout our life.
Yes. I also impressed last time I saw you talk to your son, like have a coach as soon as possible, right?
Yes.
And second question, when you date your girlfriend is, do you want to go therapy?
Yeah.
Is your partner willing to
Willing
go
to
to
go
therapy
therapy.
if a need arises?
Yeah. Because I met some couple, they have couple therapy. They have it before even they go in a serious relationship.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's very valuable.
Yeah. Are you also doing like couple therapy for those who want to get to know each other better, like in a very subjective way, because they want to see themselves clearer.
So you mentioned that, especially in Asia, women don't want to show
talk to
and talk and express, and they keep it for themselves, which does make relationships more difficult. And in this case, I would suggest getting a coach and practicing as a couple to have open conversations, because this is going to be a total game changer for their relationship.
Exactly. Yeah. So now we have Marcel here and Ivette here, and you can always find them. And I will put the contact detail in the comment. And we have so much to talk about on this topic, and then we can keep it for the next postcard. And I think our audience are so willing and so happy to see you again in the next podcast, because this is a big and beautiful and important topic, and the audience love it very much. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so
very
much,
much.
Zanny. It's
And
been such a
see you
pleasure.
next
And
time.
thank you to all our viewers.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.